How many times has this happened to you? You're climbing along, minding your own business, when all of a sudden you're overtaken by this uncontrollable swinging sensation. It seemed like you were doing everything right. You even had 3 points of contact. But regardless, your body just opened up and swung you off the climb. This phenomenon is called a barn door, and it happens when you have only 2 good points of contact on the same side, hand and foot. Quick physics lesson. In climbing, your balance is determined by 2 factors: your center of gravity and your base of support. Your center of gravity is the point where your weight is concentrated and is generally located just below the navel. Your base of support are your points of contact with the wall. Simply put, when your center of gravity stays within your base of support, you are said to be in balance. When your center of gravity falls outside your base of support, you are out of balance. This typically happens when your main points of contact are on the same side of your body. The swing sensation is your body trying to correct itself and bring the center of gravity towards the middle of the base of the support. But what about the example I just showed where I had 3 points of contact and my center of gravity was located just within my base of support? Well, the quality of the points of contact in your base of support is also a factor. And in this case, the contact point of the left foot was not very useful. The foothold is small and angled in a way where I could only exert downward pressure. Since my center of gravity wants to move towards the middle of my base of support, my body is going to naturally want to swing to the right, and the downward pressure of my left foot is not enough to stop that swing. The first method of negating a barn door in this type of situation is to find a point where you can counterpressure against the swing. In this example, I use a heel hook on the left side of the starting handhold to exert counterpressure against my body swinging to the right. The alignment of the center of gravity with the base of support is almost identical to the previous example, but with a much better left foot option I can use to negate the swing. The second method of stopping a barn door is usually the most popular and involves using a back flag. This is when you flag your leg behind your body and in turn shift your center of gravity towards the direction of your flag. This technique is a bit more delicate and balance-oriented as you're only using 2 points of contact. You'll have to play around with the depth of your back flag in each situation to find the ideal balance point to move towards the next hold with control. Let's take a look at how both these methods are applied on this white crimpy V6. I do the opening move with the opposite hand and foot, work my right foot over, and encounter my first barn door situation. Because the foothold is ahead of the vertical plane of the handhold, it sets up for a comfortable back flag to bring me in with the left hand. The next handhold is for the right hand, which is a foot higher and farther to the right. Since the handhold is higher and on the same vertical plane as the foothold, the back flag technique will be a bit more difficult to hold. On this attempt, I decide not to risk it and time a release and catch with my left hand on the side pole to get the counterpressure against the swing. Method number 1. The next handhold is directly above the right hand. Since all 3 holds are in alignment on the vertical plane, like the hinges on a door, I know that I have a high swing potential. To negate this, I sink in a far left heel hook on the start hold to counterpressure against the swing. The downside of heel and toe hooks is that you will eventually have to release them at some point. Once my hands are in place, I brace for the swing that will result from releasing the heel by putting a bit more pressure on my contact points and increasing the body tension. This pulling hard and tensing up is the third method for fighting a barn door. Not the most technical, but effective if you're able to tough it out. Once I finish this lower sequence, the rest of the climb is quite straightforward. I'm going to show this climb again, but this time favoring some different methods for negating the barn door. Here, instead of timing the release and catch of the left hand for counterpressure, I'm going to rely on a back flag. You can see that it looks a bit less comfortable and even has a tiny element of swing. From here, instead of using a left heel hook to counterpressure, I'm going to step through with the left foot and use the old reliable opposite hand and foot with outside flag to get to the next handhold. The last tricky bit is to get my right hand up, as I'm now only using left hand and left foot on the same vertical plane. You can see that I move dynamically with a bit of speed. The rest of the climb goes the same as before. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the lower half of this boulder problem. I encourage you to try out these different methods yourself and become familiar with the positions and techniques. Until next time, move better, climb harder.